Either we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, or we don't. That is how I ended the last video. So if we don't follow the preamble of the Constitution of the United States, then what will happen? While as many people's eyes are opening, it looks as though the United States will become a fascist military dictatorship full of misery and strife, as the corrupt international bankers have always derived much profit under such conditions. Nazi Germany is a prime example where the public was robbed, tortured, and murdered, with their wealth diverted to places like Switzerland by use of the international bankers. We as a nation are in the same vortex as usual, with people playing partisan politics and bouncing back and forth with the same parties that have failed us. For your information, a president of the United States is supposed to be the spokesperson of the people to keep Congress in check and vice versa. A president who has some type of loyalty to a party or special interest group, by definition, has that party or special interest in his or her agenda. Even when a president comes forward and appeals to many people's interests, there is always a price to be paid. Look at the savings and loan scandals and mortgage-backed security crisis, both of which stole huge amounts of wealth from average people through their pension funds, with our federal government giving the criminal bankers a pass. In exchange, there will be some fines in the billions of dollars, when the amount swindled was probably in the trillions of dollars, as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac controlled $12 or so trillion in mortgage-backed securities, which in a Freddie Mac audit was discovered that 80% were not properly secured, and out of that, there is an unknown number of mortgages paid off through insurances, credit default swaps, and outright stolen by banker insiders and their institutions, being lending institutions, law firms, and offshore corporations. This multi-trillion-dollar swindle and fraud will never be properly looked into if business continues as usual. So do you still want to allow business as usual when it comes to our monetary system? You might be wondering, what does the mortgage-backed securities market have to do with our monetary system? Well, there is a thing known as fractional reserve banking, where a Federal Reserve Bank can loan out 10 times the amount of their deposits. That is how the mortgage-backed securities were flipped, where a Federal Reserve Bank provided credit to mortgage brokers, who in turn did the dirty deeds and flipped the mortgage to the banks, who profited without having to put up any of the money, as Fannie and Freddie would buy anything that was sent to them, and in some cases, not even sent to them. And make no mistake about it, the Federal Reserve banking system is a private banking system. The profits through dividends are sent to private people, and those private individuals are foreigners. But it doesn't even matter if they were sent mortgage deeds, as the deeds were typically not accounted for in the trust that was supposed to own them, or even having a proper assignment registered at the County Registry of Deeds, as was required by multiple laws. The deeds were left with a blank assignment, so the deeds could be stolen by insiders and be misrepresented. And the county courts, with their judges, are being trained by the bankers' law firms to allow such frauds to go unchallenged by the courts. Excuse me. This situation is not just one party against another party, as a court would typically look at any situation that comes before them. It is whether or not there is justice. And for courts to allow, for example, foreclosures or even payments to entities that may not have any true ownership, and maybe even have had the mortgages paid off by insurances that the people who own the houses paid for themselves. That is not any type of justice at all. There is much that needs to be done when it comes to monetary reform. Let's start in the beginning and have the type of currency our forefathers left for us in the writings of our Constitution, before it is too late.